Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Collective Podcast. We have a special episode today again. They're all special, but we have AJ obviously, and we have good friends of mine and of the Power Worship Collective as well. And then we have Caesar and Ada. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you for being here with us. So I know you're Caesar. I know you're Ada.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit. What's your full name, bro?
Caesar Montelongo from Durango, Mexico. So all my alacranes out there,
Well,
hey,
not the
saludos,
gang, bro,
saludos.
not the gang. Just you.
Durango, Mexico.
that's cool. That's cool. Ada,
Yes, my name is Ada Montelongo.
you
And
took the last name.
I did.
Nice.
She,
Was that a fight,
she a
bro?
real one. She a real one.
Yeah.
I know.
Mandatory.
Yes.
Mandatory. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yes. And I am from Nicaragua.
Well, Central American, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good combination. I guess my wife is Puerto Rican. Well, half Mexican, half Puerto Rican, and I'm Salvadoran. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
interesting. What food from Nicaragua?
Man, we have a lot of food.
Yeah,
Good
they do.
food. From nacatamales. They're not your usual little tamales. They're pretty big.
Yeah.
Gallo pinto, fritanga, queso frito. Yeah.
Oh wow.
He can
Bro,
tell
if you ever have
He
the
can tell
if you
you.
ever have the privilege of coming over to their house and have dinner, bro,
Yeah. Not yet,
That's
bro.
what's
Not
up,
yet,
bro.
but that's what
That's what I said,
I
if you
see it in
ever
my
do.
future, bro.
it depends how the podcast goes. Then we'll see, bro.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. So, what do you eat in your house? Mexican or?
It's a blend of all kinds of things. Lately, she's been exploring on all kinds of things. American food, Mexican, but mostly Nicaraguan. But
Yeah.
there's a good blend, a good mix of everything.
Oh, okay.
To be honest.
So, where did you guys grow up? Like, you're Mexican. Were you born and raised in Mexico? Or?
I came to the United States when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
Went back when I was 12. Came back at 13, and been here ever since.
Oh, okay.
Los Angeles.
In LA. Okay. What about you?
Yes, I was born and raised here, but then I did move to Nicaragua for 5 years when I was 10. Came
man.
back when I was 15, so I got a little glimpse of what it's like as
Yeah.
far as the culture, and that's where I really
Oh,
fell in
okay.
love with the culture, yeah.
That's cool. So, a lot of childhood memories from.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, how do you think you were formed more? Like, were you formed more here in LA or over there?
I honestly think now that I'm in my 30s, it feels like it feels like my childhood is coming back to me, where it's kind of like that. This is why my childhood is really why I am the way I am now,
Yeah.
and I understand that now, and it is because the change in culture. I think that really did have an impact on me. So
Yeah.
yeah. I think that age gap, 10 between 15, it's I connected a lot with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really formative years. So, you went to
Yeah.
school over there?
I did.
Did you know Spanish when you got there?
I did know Spanish, but over there was like the Spanish.
It's like
Yeah.
real Spanish. It's like, when you say I'm Mexican, but you go to Mexico, you're like, oh no, they're real Mexican.
yeah, it's memorization, not like multiple choice type of. No, it's like you needed to memorize.
Oh, in the school, yeah.
Yeah.
It's way different over there. What about you, bro? How do you feel? Do you feel like more Mexican, more LA? Or
To be honest, I've been here most of my life, but I do connect a lot with Mexico. I went when I was 12 and I spent a whole year over there.
Yeah.
And in that year, I was kind of like the little outsider kid. Yeah, full-blown Mexican, nopal en
Se
la
echó a perder el
frente.
rango
Yeah.
ese ya.
But everybody knew, like, him and his brother are the kids that speak English. Like in school,
Okay.
they always knew that. But
Yeah.
roots are roots,
Yeah.
So back to your question, I feel LA is at the heart of me, but obviously, the Mexican roots you just can't hide.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
get away from that.
Yeah. So you went to school for that year that you were over
I
there?
did.
Okay. How was that transition?
It was different because we used to go to school in the afternoon from
Oh,
12
okay.
to 5, but I would always get in trouble, so I would always stay an hour later.
Okay.
And I graduated, but when you graduate 6th grade over there, they kill a pig for you, so they killed a pig for me.
Oh,
They-
cool.
I saw my grandpa stab it to death, and then you had to put it in hot water, then you shave it, and then you take the intestines out. So like, and then you had to go work in the field, you know.
Yeah.
In the
Oh, so it's like the way of making you a man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he made us go work in the field, like in the corn and frijol, all kinds of stuff. So like that's pretty
Man,
cool.
bro.
Yeah, for sure. 12-year-old. Yeah.
It's like going to camp.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
How do you feel that form you like into? Do you feel that played a lot into the man you are today, or how's that like?
Yes, because nothing was really given to us like on a gold plate. You know, you had to work for it literally. Like we literally ate the beans at my grandma's house that we planted.
Yeah.
We saw that grow and we literally ate that. So yeah, most definitely nothing comes easy, and we kind of, you know, we see where everything comes from, how it starts to finish.
So I want to, these first episodes of the Collective Popcast are to introduce what pop-up worship is, right? We had the conversation with you guys and what we do and the people who are involved. So you guys, I have you on here because you guys are not part of our worship team. Like you don't go up on there and, you know, like worship and do music, but you guys are behind the scene. You guys are a part of the team that's behind the scene. And I know that maybe you don't take it that way, like oh, we're part of the pop-up worship team, but I do, and I pray over you that way, and I'll explain to you why, because it ties all into like the childhood and all that. So I actually met Caesar and Ada through another friend, and nothing to do with music or nothing. It's just through mutual friends. But I remember going to serve with him and downtown LA at Skid Row, right, for the homeless people. And I've only seen one person other than him do this, where we were walking down the street and you're part of Faith, Hope, Love, which is it's a community outreach program that you guys take food in, and I'm privileged to go help you do that sometimes. But that one time we were walking down the street praying for people, right? I think we were giving waters out or whatever, and you saw somebody that didn't have shoes on, and you said, "What size are you?" And he was like, "Oh, like you know, I don't know." And you took off your shoes and you gave it to him. And then I've only seen, the only person I've ever seen do that, we're good? Sorry. Is my dad. That's the only person I've ever seen do that, you know, other than you. But that right away, I was like, man, not everybody has a heart to do that, you know, because he wasn't doing it like to show off to nobody, you know, like by the time you and I were already friends, like nobody was recording it. Now everybody records everything you do, right? But nobody was watching, you just did that. And it tells you a lot about somebody's heart, you know, and like they really genuinely love people that way. So not only do you do that, you know, like where we care for people just because, but you also have like the way that you guys serve together. Like we were in church together, right? We served at the same church, and I mean, other than other people that were there, like generally serving just because, it was always you guys, you know, like in every area. So when we do this, like I remember we did a gospel essentials, and I asked you guys, can you guys come and just be greeters? Because you guys are perfect for that. You guys really love people, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, we have other people that, you know, like we have AJ, we have other people that do stuff, but I always thought like, man, like that would be, I don't think I told you this, but I thought like, I hope they say yes to just greeting people, because I know who you guys are. I know your heart, you know, like of serving and why. And then I wanted people to get to know this story, because this is the type of people that I want part of the team, like, you know, like public worship, because it's not about like the, you know, the content and the videos and all that and the music. It goes way deeper than that, and it starts with that core team, right? Like and that heart that we have to have for people. So we were talking about the questions that we were gonna talk about, and it was the childhood question came up, right? Like, you know, and I know you have a story of in Tijuana, because those that don't know, you guys also go to Tijuana. I think you guys try to go like once a year. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So I mean, just before we move into that, what's faith?
Okay,
what?
yeah, kind of explain to what Faith, Hope, Love.
So Faith, Hope, Love Project. We met them actually through an Instagram hashtag. We used to do our own thing, our own feeding the homeless just on our own. Yeah. And you know, you'll hashtag stuff. And I just hashtagged Skid Row one time. And then I just clicked on it. and it's a universal album, right?
Yeah.
Photo album. So I clicked on it, and then I seen, oh, Faith Hope Love Project, they're gonna be in downtown LA this day. I'm like, oh, I'll go check it out. And we met them,
Yeah.
and it was like como el anillo al dedo, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like a perfect match for what we were already doing.
Yeah.
And we just became part of the leadership there, and ever since then, I mean, the rest is history. So it all happened through a hashtag. So thank Instagram
Wow.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
No
wasn't
que no
e-
te gusta social media.
yeah. It wasn't like a mutual connection with a friend or
Yeah.
someone I knew.
Porque es el
or
diablo,
nothing,
pues.
right? You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, sorry, bro. Can you put your mic forward? Oh, yeah.
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 You know, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Yeah.
Faith Hope Love is like also a group, a team that go. That's how I kind of. They were already doing that when I met him.
Yeah.
So they going, and then we started serving together, and then he started going to a church in Tijuana that's full of kids.
Oh, okay.
Like, but I'm talking about like it's real like ministry. Like,
Yeah.
they're really underprivileged, really poor, and just going out there and doing a barbecue for them, taking them toys for Christmas, things like that. But you have a story behind that, and I want you to share that. Like, why do you have the heart for TJ?
So our story started in 1985. I was about 2 years old or so. My dad, he wasn't Christian at the moment. He went to Tijuana to leave me and my mom, drop us off at my aunt's house. He was going to come to the United States and just find himself, right? Or lose himself, because he didn't know what to do with a brand new newborn kid, basically, you know, a couple years into his marriage. He didn't know how to process all that. He was an alcoholic. So in his mind, hey, I'm going to drop off my son and my wife at my sister's house and be done with it. But then and there at the dinner table, my uncle Victor started talking about the gospel. And that's when my dad got saved. That day, that night in Tijuana, Mexico. So all these years later, the first time we went to Tijuana to meet these kids, the pastor that baptized my parents was there at that church.
Wow.
And as I'm looking at the kids, I'm seeing myself, because I'm like, I would have been one of these kids for sure. And then I think about my kids. So everything kind of came full circle. So really, like, our story of becoming, coming to the ways of God, it all started in Tijuana, Mexico.
Yeah.
So when we met these kids, it was like a perfect combination. Like, this is where we're from. Like automatically the love for the kids was just like, it just happened. So, and we've been there ever since. We're going on 6-7 years strong with those kids. So we've seen them grow up since they were little till they're now teenagers. And it's a beautiful thing. So.
Is that through Faith, Hope, Love, or?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's all through that.
So when you had your ministry, like, how did you come? What was your ministry before? Like,
we've served. She served with Sunday school.
Okay.
I've done youth. Working with the youth in a couple churches, and we've just done a lot of urban street stuff. I've served with Tom at like local South Central art centers. Helping out the youth in that way, and then they'll call us after a month later. Hey man, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. So everything we do is very LA urban.
Mind you, that it has nothing to do with church. Like,
exactly.
It's like just helping the community out. Like nothing to do with like, oh, we're part of this church and
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's more like we're just here to serve. What can we help you with? And it was all. That's what we do. So background. It's mostly centered in youth and definitely on the less fortunate from all walks of life, whether you be a kid, battered woman, homeless, drug addiction, whatever it is.
Yeah.
we
tend to always serve in that area.
And I admire them just because, like, so here's the other part of how they serve. So, because they're a team, so they have a business, so they print like our Papa Worship stuff.
Okay.
So if you have ever bought like any Papa Worship, especially the one that has the circle, like the big circle in the back, this is Papa Worship, and with the big old circle in the front, it's a misprint. he did that. I had to throw that in there. They did that. No, but they do. So they print like our merch, like the stuff that like the puff ink and all that. They do that for us.
Nice.
So they have that business. So his sweater, it says Truth Addict, and it's Apostolic Faith, and that's our old newspaper, huh?
Right.
From Azusa.
Yeah, this is paying homage to 1906, the Azusa Street Revival. So
Nice.
yeah.
So he prints all that, like
Cool.
he has a print shop, and then
Yeah.
they both do that. Like that's what they do. So as a team, like I always feel like, man, I'm blessed. Like I have like
Exactly,
people
yeah.
who work on Papa,
Yeah.
like, that like they're able to do that
Yeah.
stuff. And about the misprint, even though it's true,
Yeah.
still, you know what? That T-shirt is one of the ones that always sells. Which is this one, the middle one,
Yeah.
with the big old circle, like in the back, and it has a big old circle in the front. It wasn't supposed to be like that, but he made
Yeah.
it. Though. He gave me like 24 more extra T-shirts.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
But they serve in that way, and then I know that God blesses them. Like God is gonna
Yeah.
keep on blessing them, in that area. Because I know that everything they do, they try to do their best. Like they do it like they're doing it for God. They love people, and then that's why I'm having you guys come on the episode, because there's more to just going up there and like singing or playing an instrument. That's part of the team, and that's awesome because we get to do that. But you guys are the other like when we did the Gospel Essential, and there's a picture of you guys. That
Yeah.
they Haida took actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's of you guys at the entrance, and it's a funny story I'll tell you, because so the Gospel Essential, even though it was open for everybody,
Yeah.
the Gospel Essential is a Bible study for our team, right, for our people, and we also tell them, like we told you guys, invite who you want, but it's for
Yeah.
the team. So he invited one of his friends, which happens to be like an actor, right?
Yeah.
But he's a gang member, so he's all tatted up, and
Yeah.
but he's an actor. So that day that we did the Gospel Session, my dad was he was gonna do the Bible study, right? And so
He did the Bible.
he did the Bible study,
Yeah.
yeah. So I see my dad talking to this guy, right, this gang member at the back, but he's an actor, but he just looks all banged out. And after that, my dad was like, the guy, your friend asked for prayer for he was having a newborn,
Yeah.
so he asked for prayer, and I told my dad, hey, can you pray for him? And so they pray for him. And then my dad tells me, he's like, hey, I thought he was from the street. Like I thought he just came in.
Yeah.
He's like, I gave him a coffee and I was gonna give him some money. I was like, and I was laughing because I was like, no, Dad, he's an actor. Like he's very famous. Like what he's doing. But here's the thing. I always look at it like this. Like God will put you in places to be able to minister to people who as Christians sometimes we feel like we don't, or we're not part of that circle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because the reality is like he's very like prideful about South Central, and and some people might see that as like, oh that's ghetto, or oh we're not like that, no, we're Christian, but it's because we forget that we're called Christians after Christ. Exactly. And then to me, because I know them, like they're my personal friends outside of like church or ministry or business. We're just friends, are the same.
Yeah.
We have kids that are all the same age.
Oh, okay.
So because I know you guys, I know that I can see how God puts you to, like, for example, I know that this guy, this actor, not everybody has the opportunity to talk to him about God, and you shared with me that he asked you like, when's the next one so I can come again, and the vision of Papa Worship is that we minister outside of the church walls, So I know that it's harder to get him to come to a church, but to something like that he'll come because he's like, oh, it's not a church, and there's nothing wrong with that. I go to church. I love church. We serve in church, but that's the whole point of what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like outside of the church walls, and people like them have that outreach that sometimes we don't have.
Yeah.
Or even when we become too religious, we don't want to talk to those people. We're like, oh, it's a lost cause.
Yeah. I mean, it's because I have that thought that he has, because I have a friend that he loves doing ministry out of the streets, but I don't feel that's my calling, which is, but you have to support and you have to respect. And how's that taken? I don't want to talk specifically, in your church, how do they take it in your, but in general, like in the churches when you go, I think you have to ask for help more than once. How do people take it sometimes?
So everyone is, they're pretty supportive, whether it be inside or outside the church. We've always worked in and out of the church. So whether the church supports or not, which they always have, but we still do it regardless.
Yeah.
So, the feedback has always been, has always been good. God has always supplied, whether it be backpacks, whether it be brand new shoes. I mean, we work with local coffee shops. They let us use their space for free promotion. People come in and they, the bands come and play for free when they usually charge. So everything's a collective at the end of the day with the community.
Yeah.
But, everything we do is obviously faith-based. So, yeah.
So that's basically we can say that's your calling. That's what God called you to do. How do you come into play in His calling? Like, was it easy for you just to step into it? Was there a little bit of a fight within you, being like, oh man, like I'm gonna be around all these homeless people, how
all these
how
thugs.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
No. I definitely feel that that's his calling for sure.
Yeah.
But of course, me now being married to him, he kind of got me out of my shell where it's like I always wanted to serve. I just didn't know how. I was always just, again, in my little shell. I was afraid to even talk to people. I would see a need and I would probably even feel like, oh, probably I should go talk to this person or got to put it in my heart. But I would always feel like I don't have the right words. I don't, just kind of holding back all the time. But then with him, it was like it started where it's like, I believe it kind of started around Christmas time, where he would tell me, hey, we would always have food, so he would I would remember him always saying, can you prepare like 4 packages, of food?
Yeah. And
he would just go out there. Hopefully I would see somebody or something. So that's kind of how it started within our home. I didn't have to go with him, but I would still kind of in it with him that way. But then eventually I started coming around, Skid Row, when we would find a babysitter.
Because mind you, they have 4 kids.
We have 4 kids,
What ages?
12, 10, 8, and 4.
Wow.
And one on the way.
No, but yeah, so it's been interesting seeing how it has evolved. He has his own stories of how did it become his ministry, and also how it became now our ministry. And I believe, again, I was hearing you just saying how it's not your thing, you said.
Basically.
Right, and I think that that is completely normal. I feel that everybody has their own way of giving. We have a lot of people that reach out to us where it's like, hey, maybe they can't come and help, literally help, but they are willing to donate or they're willing to, so I think that every need is met by however you're able to help, and again, you don't have to be the one to be out there doing the things that you see your neighbor doing. You are presented with a need everywhere you go, and he's the type that will be at a drive-through and we're getting food and he sees somebody right there and he orders his food and he just gives it to them. I'm more like, oh man, I'm hungry. So again, it's not that we have to be in the same feel for things, but we're in the same page as far as what we do. But he has his own way of doing things, and I do too, but we come together and do that.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, because there's always that support that it's needed from your wife, from your husband. How did you guys meet?
Yeah, we met at my church. We met at church. Yes, nice. Yeah, we were both raised in the same church since we were little. I don't think we ever saw each other, but we probably came across each other when we were little kids. But
was it a big church?
It's a big church. Our families know each other. We just didn't know each other. Okay. Yeah, so that's where we met. We kind of both went out of the church for some time.
Yeah. En el mundial.
Yeah. And then he came back first. 2 months before, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 months before. And then I came back from, not going to church for a long time. Just wanted to focus. But then he came along and
Then she focused some more.
And so that's where we met. We just kind of, clicked.
I asked her for my pickup line. Straight up was like, "Hey, do you have a MySpace? Can I have your MySpace?" Because I wanted to know what what was I jumping into.
First,
you know what I mean?
So you don't like social media, but you asked for her
But
MySpace.
you know what?
He went
He doesn't
into
like social media, but through his whole life, social media has been part of his life.
I know he went into with ministry through Instagram. So wow.
And now he does TikTok dances. No.
Follow me.
Hidden talent. He's hidden talent. All right.
Yeah, no, but they have not that it's an interesting relationship, but it's like it's a genuine one.
Yeah.
And it's one that I haven't found like in a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because we've known each other for a while now. I think the other day I was talking to Amy and I was like, man, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't like a forced thing. I remember that you were like, oh, we should go, chill. And I was like, yeah, but I don't really know you, so I'm like, I'm doing my thing, I'm busy. Yeah, but we became friends. And it was good to see people who were like genuine people, like, because usually it's sad to say, but you meet some people and some people they just want to get to know you for a specific reason, or they're not really telling you who they really are, and it sucks. And not knocking at nobody, just we all have our own agendas, our own ways of why we think. Sometimes we're immature or whatever, but ever since I met you guys, it was like transparency. It was just that's who you are. It wasn't nothing weird or like, oh, we think like this, or like we just want to, it was transparent, and it was like all love, like genuine love for people. And because like you don't want to say, but for example, they both are like that, like the type that like if I go over their house, I know there's gonna be food.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh, they happen to come and like, oh, cause we're eating. No, it's like she made a full meal, like, oh shoot, but it's out of love. You can feel it.
Yeah.
It's not because they want to impress you or because you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just because, hey, like we're gonna break bread, like they care for people.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's genuine, and everything that I've encountered about them is genuine. So when I'm telling you, when I was like, I want them to like, hopefully like they'll be like part of like the team in that way.
Yeah, and accept the invitation to come.
Exactly.
And share with us.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty interesting, man. Like, sometimes you meet people, because I've met you before. We met in church one time, right?
Yes.
And it's not like pushy, It's not like, oh, yeah, this is what we do.
You didn't even know.
You told me about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom told me, he's like, oh, they serve and they do the printing, and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, But it was, our kids were hanging out. We went to eat tacos, like at a
Lonchera.
At a taco truck after the service, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool, like I remember that. I remember seeing you when you were serving at Entrada, from when we had the event. How did you start with your company? Like, how does that come? Do you say, I'm going to start my printing shop?
So,
how was that?
I was, when I was younger, I wasn't doing anything but like smoking pot.
We said we were talking about
bro. No, that's the background. That's the background to the print shop.
Just the context with this. We asked them when they came. There's something you don't want to talk about. He said, "Yeah, let's not talk about drugs." I said, "Cool." But you just brought it up, bro.
Because it's real. So I was doing all that. I wasn't working, and my dad's like, "Man, I gotta get this kid a job."
Yeah.
So he called one of my tíos. He's like, "Hey, dale el trabajo a este compa porque no está haciendo nada." So my uncle's like, "Hey, there's this guy, he has a print shop, and they just need somebody to clean up, load up, and basically just do anything to clean up the warehouse." I'm like, "Yeah, all right." Well, they paid me $7.25 back then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay?
That was good back then.
Yeah, that was pretty good back then for a single guy with no wife, without 4 kids. You know what I mean? So long story short, I worked there for about 8 months. And I saw the screen printing because it was a silk screen print shop, and I was like, "Man, that's dope. Like, I wanna start this."
Yeah.
8 months experience. I call one of my buddies. I'm like, "Hey, let's start a print shop. He's like, how much money you got? I'm like, nothing, but I have the desire and I have the experience. I told him, you put the money, I put the experience, I teach you, let's do it. He's like, how much you need? I'm like, this much. Done. Wrote me a check, well, wrote us a check, and we bought the machines brand new, and that's kind of how we started. And 20 years later or so, here we are, still printing and doing a thing. And now she does a lot of our graphic design, a lot of the aesthetics she takes care of. So again, she's jumped into being that helper that we need for the company.
I'm trying to get her on the worship aesthetic, bro.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. In a nutshell, that is the story behind the print shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. And the street ministry, how does that come to be, like, from your end? Like, what sparks that desire? Because she was saying right now that you just get some food, you go walk and you give it to people. Were you like that when you were younger, like when you were a kid, or?
So there's a brother in church named Ramon Rios. Shout out to hermano Ramon Rios. You know, I was about 9, 10 years old, you know, maybe even through 11. You know, my dad was sick. He couldn't work. My mom was always taking care of us. So this brother would go to our house and drop off boxes of food, you know, milk, donuts, cereal. And I would just love and think, like, in my mind, I'd be like, man, if el hermano Rios viene, he's going to bring donuts for sure. So that was like my thing, you know, like las donas. So he planted that seed when I was a little boy. And now, you know, decades later, it's the full-blown story of the Faith, Hope, Love project.
He's still out there?
You know what I mean? Yeah, he's still out there. Raymond Rios. So
Is he, was that here in LA or was
that was in LA, in Watts. Yep, 1992, 1993, around there. And, you know, he would do that just out of his heart because he knew my dad was struggling. And he would just go and, you know, take food to us. And, you know, again, decades later, that seed kind of just sprouted. And that's what drives us. So the story didn't start a few years ago. The story started back in 92, 93.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so after that happens, do you feel that kind of need to share right away, or is it little by little? Did you see the need somewhere? They are like, oh man, like I have to do what he did, or how does that come to be? Like,
the day it happened, it was around Christmas time, like she said. I just had this big weight on my heart. I'm like, I just need to go and feed a homeless person. That's it. Like, I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I just told her, hey, can you cook something up? She did that. I'm like, I don't have a lot of money, so she's like, hey, we'll just go to 99, get a backpack, and stuff some essentials in there, you know. So we did that. I go out, and I specifically met this homeless lady on 58th and Central, a block off of Slauson where the train tracks are at. I got off my car, and I was already thinking in my mind, I'm going to preach Jesus to her, John 3:16. I'm going to tell her the gospel, right? In my own mind. Mm-hmm. She didn't need none of that. I got off my car, I opened up the backpack, and the first thing she saw was a Gideon's Bible. Yeah. And she started bawling, crying out of control. She's like, oh my God, like nobody has given me anything for Christmas. Yeah. And she was smoked out on drugs, hugging me and crying, and I couldn't utter any words. Oh, Jesus loves you, or let me pray for you. Nothing. We were just crying. And ever since that day, the passion has just been like, I can't describe it. Like, I look forward to doing it every time. Like, when I have a date, I'm like, man, I want that date to get here already. Yeah. Like, I dream about it, I think about it, and when you're there, it's very therapeutic. Yeah. You don't think about problems, you don't think about anything that's going on. You're just there, and it's almost like your therapy, your time to just serve, and it's an amazing feeling.
So they're a team, because you were telling me the other day, we were having dinner, you were telling me that you want to start the nonprofit, like legit, you want to do a nonprofit.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was telling them that we had been looking into, at the end of this year, this 2023, to serve, right, the community, to do something like big, but not necessarily a concert, but I wanted like the team to go out there and like serve. Yeah. So I told them, like, start the nonprofit, like do it legit, and we'll join that nonprofit as Papa Worship. Yeah. And then we'll serve. You know, we'll go to TJ, you know, or here, but we'll serve that way. You know, so.
Wow, that's crazy. No, yeah, and I mean, it's how God bring people together, because it's an answer to a prayer that we've had. Because for us, I've met people. So I have a friend. He told me, he's like, yeah, I help homeless people, but it's like a lot of them, they're right there because they want to be there. A lot of them are right there because they're on drugs. And you come to think, it's like they want to be in that situation. Why should I help them? And you meet, like I told you, meet different kind of people. So that's why it's really interesting to me that you're saying that. I wouldn't picture myself hugging a person that is like high on drugs, just in Christmas, like I just want to chill in the house with my kids, and give them
tamales,
gifts, eat
right?
tamales,
Yeah.
open my gift, see what my wife got me. But it's like at the end of the day, sometimes even though you're with your family, it's like sometimes it's not like something is missing, but you're like, I could be doing more. And what would you say to a person that is like hesitant about like me, because I'm hesitant. I don't want to go out and get shanked, bro. Like I don't want to go out.
What would you say to somebody that's hesitant?
Te vas al infierno.
Repent. No. Well, I don't know what I would tell. I would just say, give it a try. You never know. Again, like I said, in my experience, like I was one of those where I was like, are you sure we should be going there? Are you sure? But then once I had to get out of my comfort zone. I really did. And he has stories and I have my own stories. And one of my stories that I always share is it's, once I was handing someone an orange, as simple as that, that person just looked at me and he's like, thank you for that smile, because I don't know when I will be, seeing a smile again,
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a smile. It's free. But that's just how they live, and again, it's not like, we go and we know that they need to eat. So that's the purpose, right? But other than that, it's like, them knowing that you just left whatever you were doing just to come here for them. It does something to them. Yeah.
Do you have any stories like that have touched you?
Man,
like the biggest impact?
Don't get him started.
Pero no llores.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Definitely a lot. I guess my friend Tyrone, right? I met him out there. I've known the dude for like 2-3 years. Hey, Tyrone, how you doing? And they love it when you call them by name.
Yeah.
Like you call their name, and there's just like that connection. Hey, Caesar, what's up? How you doing? So I met the dude every single time, chop it up with him, month after month, year after year. One specific time he comes up to me, he sticks his hand in his pocket. Y saca las llaves. He's like, look. And I'm like, okay, they're keys. He's like, dude, I got my apartment, bro. After 30 years of being on Skid Row. And mind you, Skid Row is the biggest homeless population in like...
It's pretty bad, bro.
Maybe in the whole world, possibly. And he's all like, dude, you want to go check out my apartment? I'm like, yeah, dude. So I go, the cleanest apartment you'll ever see. The floor was waxed. Every single little object in his house was perfectly placed. He's all like, Caesar, the first night I came in, I laid on the floor. I didn't even sleep on the bed. And I was just looking up at the sky and thanking God for allowing me to have my own place. So 30 years of being on the street. So that's like, out of all of them, that's one of the biggest ones, because like this was a dude that he told me, dude, I saw all kinds of crazy stuff on Skid Row. He's like, you can't even imagine what I've seen here in 30 years. And he's like, I get to finally lock my door and like sleep in a bed and shower. And like the stuff that you and I might take for granted. You know what I mean? So yeah.
But it's because, bro, to be honest, just to go to serve as, I don't know if you've ever gone to Skid Row to like serve.
I've drove by with the windows up and locked the doors. That's what I do.
Look, to be honest, you have to have a certain type of love for the people to do that. But don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. No. Because this is why. Look, because we've said it before.
Yeah.
Like, man, there has to be a point as believers that we understand that we're a body of Christ. So we're all not meant to do the same stuff. Like the ear doesn't do the same thing the left hand does. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we're part of the same body. Yes. So as long as we understand that, we're good. Like we're gonna serve in different areas. Like I'm a worship leader, right?
Yeah.
Caesar is like, I don't believe you guys. I don't believe what you guys do. You don't believe the singers, you know? Like, nah, it's not, you know.
Yeah.
But we love each other.
Exactly.
To me, he's a gang member still, but you know, but he's a good one. You know?
Yeah, but because I was born and raised in El Salvador. I lived over there until I was 16 years old. And I've seen poverty. I used to go to the rancho, where my grandma used to live, and I used to see the little kids. They didn't have any shoes and clothes. I would take them, clothes and stuff like that. What I didn't wear anymore, what I didn't like, what wasn't in anymore. So it's like I've done it that way, but actually going out and having that experience, it's like now, and now my next question will be, where can I find you online? Where can I see your schedule? Because it's like you pump me up, like I want to do it, So what would be, how do I get in touch with you or with Faith, Hope, and Love, or how does it work?
Yeah, so just go on Instagram. It's seed_37, but the way you spell seed is CEDE _37.
Okay,
that's how you find us on Instagram.
It sounds like a verse, bro.
Yeah,
So
that's an IG, right?
So seed is pronounced seed, like you plant a seed, like Brother Raymond Rios did, right?
Yeah.
But seed means to yield and to let others go before you. And in Spanish, it's read the same way, cede. Le cedes el paso a otra persona primero antes de que a ti mismo. So that's the whole mindset behind that.
Yeah.
Like you put yourself last, you let others go first, especially the less fortunate people.
And the 37?
The 37, it's funny that you asked that. Nobody has asked me that question. _37, because when you spell, you write the number 37, but on the 7 you do the little line, the little hyphen line. So you write and then you flip it inside out and it spells fe backwards. So faith.
Okay.
So that's the reason behind the 37.
Oh, your chakras are all lined up, bro.
Yeah. I got my third eye going and everything.
I didn't even know that.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So do you have a schedule right there of where you're gonna be?
Yes.
Where the next event is
Yes.
gonna be?
Yes. So you go on there, you give us a follow, and we take it from there.
Awesome. And on the is it the same for the ministry in Mexico as well?
Yes, it all runs through the same page.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. How often do you go to Mexico?
Mexico, we would go 3 times a year, and then because of COVID and all that, some things happen. So right now we're shooting for one time or 2 times a year at the moment.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
But we gotta connect because we at the end of the year we do want to do.
Yes.
We want to do something with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course.
Yes,
We're gonna connect, and I mean it's great. It's amazing to hear that because, I mean, it's underserved, underprivileged people. That community. You don't really think about, because society now. Right now, they just see it as we need to get rid of them. It's a lot of mental issues, and you don't think about mental issues, and it's something that we don't really talk about in the church, and it's something that is really real, within the community, inside of church, outside of church, for the people that are homeless. Do you have any stories about that?
Yeah, touching the church subject, yes, because a guy that and I'm not going to mention his name, but I grew up with this guy. I'll go to his house, he'll go to my house. We got baptized together in the same church. And one time after serving on Skid Row, I'm leaving and I see him. I hadn't seen dude in 12 years.
Yeah.
And I called him by his name. I'm like, dude, where you been? He's looking at me. He's like, Caesar. I'm like, yeah, bro, what's up? So I get off my car. I give him a hug. And he's like, man, it's really weird that you call me by my name, because on the streets I go by. And he gave me a female name. And that automatically told me, this dude is working to get fed by any means necessary. You know what I mean? And, he showed me his arms. He's like, yeah, man, I do this to support myself. This is my addiction. And that really hit home because he was a guy that I got baptized with. And, what do you say to someone like that? Hey, Jesus loves you. Hey, repent and come back.
They already know, yeah.
He told me straight up, hey, man, you know what? I'm not looking for a handout. this is where I'm at right now, and this is where I want to be at the moment.
Yeah.
And after that, I mean, there's really nothing else you could do but just love them and continue to serve, and that's it. There's no way you could be pushy on them. So yeah. So that's the story, and that one hits home because it's not like a stranger. This is someone that I knew personally.
Yeah.
And every time I go, I always wonder about him. Like, where is he at? Is he dead? Is he in jail? Did he overdose? Did someone kill him? Did someone burn his tent? I don't know.
Yeah.
But we pray for him all the time.
Wow.
Because that's somebody's kid. That's somebody's brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So to start landing this plane, I know I said it. Start landing this plane. Sorry. Is there any advice that you would like to give? I mean, because like I told you, I'm really, I was hesitant about doing something like going and serving like that. What? Because you already said it, just go ahead and do it, but how can you bring it home? Like, how can you say, hey, this is how you, because that's the way you serve. And I see it the way, like, I'm already in church, I'm already serving in church, I already do this, I already do that, and it hits different, I feel and I think, when you just send some money against, actually going and doing it yourself. How would you say the difference is, and what would you say to someone, that it's like, I might do it, I might not do it?
Just know that that's somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's dad, somebody's grandchild, somebody's family member. They were a kid at one point. They were a little baby that was held by the mom at one point in life. What happened when they checked out? Who knows? That's not for us to know or judge or point the finger at. So join us, get to know the people out there, and you never know how God is going to impact you and use you. And just know that every time you go, you're going to come back home with a bigger blessing than the one you gave them.
Yeah.
And that's for real.
Awesome. What about you? What would you say to a wife that it's, because I feel that's a problem sometimes, that the wife, I mean, your partner, as it is your wife, your husband, you might not want to support the ministry of the person that you're with. What would you say to a person like that it's like, I don't know if he should do it. Like I said, I don't want him to go out and get stabbed, or something like that. That fear, because fear is what holds us back a lot of times.
Right, yeah. No, I mean, it took us some time to find a balance between what he always wanted to do. Like in the beginning, of course, I had newborns. It was automatic, like, yeah, no, I can't go. But yeah, you as a wife, you do kind of fall in this, like, man, like, I want to be out there too. Like, or like, like I did have to, at some point, kind of question, like, am I doing something too, because I did feel like I'm just home, but yeah, you are in your own way, because if I didn't help him or support him, then he kind of wouldn't be out there either, but also it's just about trying it out, what works for your family. I mean, there's times where he kind of understood that it was 3 kids at the time that we had, and it's like, well, all of us are going to jump in this car and we're all going to go to TJ together. And that's how we would do it. Where now it's like my kids remember the names of the kids. They know Tyrone, they ask about Tyrone.
Wow.
And it's just really, if it works out with your family, then that's how you know that, that's really where it should go. But also, I do believe that, like I said, he has his own way of doing it. I have that helped me kind of. I think you also have to kind of get a feeling of where you're at in life. Like you're always placed in situations, in families, in cultures for a reason. I do believe so, because I didn't know how to serve until I met him. But then, of course, that's kind of like his baby, and I help him. But what happens now that helped me see that, I'm having now a clear understanding of where I want to serve, and that's in Nicaragua. But and the doors just opened up, where it's kind of like if I wouldn't have had the experience with him, maybe I wouldn't have known how. Is it even possible? Where now it's more like, yeah, I was one of those kids in Nicaragua that now I'm able to envision helping them with their uniforms, with their school supplies, and all these things that I know that are so much different than when the kids go to school here,
Yeah.
So everybody, I feel that, if I never had lived in Nicaragua, maybe that would have never been placed in my heart. So just kind of look around, and maybe it's even within your own family. There's a ministry there. You never know.
Yeah.
Within your job, or so it's necessarily not always have to be, like the homeless, population. There's a need always, everywhere you go. So it's just where you feel called to do so, and it'll just come naturally.
Awesome. Thank you. So we can find you right there. What about the printing?
The printing, it's also on the same page. It's just linked on it. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's all connected.
Incredible
Incredible prints.
prints. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Ink like INK.
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 Yeah. But it's all through the seed_37. Yeah, it's all linked. It's all.
And then you have the shop her foreign.
Yes,
You
I opened up my shop. Yeah, from him being a screen printer, I'm like, well, might as well have my own clothing brand. So mine is shop.her4 and Instagram.
Okay. Instagram. Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Anything else?
No, thank you guys for joining us on the podcast, and then we love you guys, and we hope to keep on working with you. Be part of the team like that.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you guys.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Well, follow us. Keep on watching the episodes. We hope you guys have a blessed day.